Good morning. I am not sure what she's confessing. I haven't gotten that far. I know I'm confessing that I completely forgot to put my countdowns on for Instagram. So, oh well. So, let me post the stream there. Today's gonna be pretty short. I have a lot to do. I'm really, really busy. So, I'm gonna try to keep it to about an hour max today. So, not a ton of time, but hopefully I can get the sketch to kind of at least at least most of the colors down. I say colors, I work in grayscale, but you get the idea. I'd like to get it far enough that I can render a little bit, but we'll see. Vante, Lilith, Babel, welcome in. Good to see you. We appreciate you making time for us, always. I enjoy my streams. I wish I didn't have to rush this one, but it is what it is. I didn't sleep at all last night, so probably for the best as well. I can't believe I forgot to do my countdowns. I was sitting here waiting for 11 o'clock to roll around so I could get started, and I just completely forgot to do my countdown. Oh well, not a big deal. In my defense, I did not sleep, so I cannot be held responsible for any of my mistakes today. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. Okay, almost done getting the Instagram posts up. I was good. I actually managed to ping my Discord and everything, which is a small step in a good direction. I hate having so many different social medias. I know it's just kind of unnecessary evil, but I hate having so many that I have to bounce between. Well, okay, finally all of that's done. So I have my tablet here. We'll see if my tablet cooperates with me today, because last night it was giving me a lot of trouble. I have a very old tablet, so I think it's about to kick the bucket here. I do have a backup tablet, so if this one breaks, I can still draw, but I defaulted this one because it's a little bit smaller, so it fits more nicely on my desk. But we'll see. Okay, let's see here. One thing that I do know I have to add is he is supposed to have soul on. This sketch is pretty rough, but that's alright. not. Lily, good morning. Welcome in. I also have a little bit of an announcement for everyone. If you are a keen-eyed viewer, you might have noticed it in the description of the stream. But if, for any reason, it's difficult to afford books, Immolation has been registered in a promotion through Smashwords, so you can get the ebook, which is the digital version of the book, for free, coming up here pretty soon during their, I think it's their Read an Ebook week. So I signed Immolation up for that promotion, so it'll be included. So there's a link in the description for where you can save that link, and the promotion, I believe, starts on March 2nd. So if for any reason it's difficult to afford books, because I totally get it, things are a little bit crazy in the world right now, but you'd still like to read Immolation, you can get it for free during the promotion. He's got a lot of lines going on, so I need to clean this up. Okay, that's... Got a new book today and ran into an old friend from high school. Oh my gosh, my voice, I'm so sorry. That's great. What book did you pick up? Is it like a fantasy? Is it a thriller? Is it a non-fiction? What book are you picking up? Should tell Trickster? Yeah, definitely. I'm not sure if Trickster's in the chat today, but yeah, we should definitely tell Trickster. I know that for someone who's English second language, my book might be a little bit intimidating. But Babel can vouch for it. She's English second language, and she's able to read it. I hope it's not too intimidating. But yeah, if you ever want to give it a shot. I'm gonna try to participate in little promos like this just throughout the year. Well, throughout the years, plural, to give people a chance to read it. Obviously, I can really only do that with the digital editions. I can't do it with physical. But something, so hopefully people can still get their hands on it. I think that's fine. Where'd I put that? There we go. Where did I put the rest of your clothes? He has so many layers. Why is he like this? I know why. Why? Let's see. I'm Dutch and it reads very smoothly. Thank you for the endorsement. English isn't my first language either. See, I'm surrounded by brilliant people who are English second language, and they speak it so well that I wouldn't have known unless they told me. Meanwhile, I'm over here just still trying to learn my Spanish, honestly. I took 2 years of it in high school, but I'm trying to pick it back up again. So wish me luck. It's a manhwa, one of the reincarnation stories, super funny. That sounds fun. The layers shall layer. And there were so many layers. Even Bronte, you can tell that, well, you can kind of tell. She's got... I don't know if you'll be able to see her petticoats. I don't know if I'm gonna do that for this pose, but... Like, she has... Well, I guess I'll use a different color. Because I'm a historical fashion nerd, and I like these things. I find it really fun and interesting. So she's got, obviously, what looks like a dress, but she has, like, her camise is a little, like, this little bit poking out here, and that's, like, the layer that's closest to the skin. Then she has the bodice, which is, like, this top part here. You can't really see it, but, like, her corset goes on, and then she's got the bodice that goes over it. And she has her skirt, which is a separate piece, even though it technically comes together as a dress, it's a separate piece. And then she has the habit that goes over this, which is like the little kind of long part. Oh, my sigh froze. There we go. But yeah, which is all historical fashion shenanigans because I just enjoy that. Cyril, he's weird. And nobody was surprised. But he has like his own chemise that he wears underneath, but he's basically got like a shirt that goes on. That's basically what his chemise is. That goes on underneath, but you can't see it, so it's not like hers where it shows, which a lot of people assume that his camise is what's showing at his neck, which is not. He's basically got like a separate shirt that he wears, and then he puts on. If you haven't seen Hellfire, I'm pretty sure everyone has seen Hellfire. It's like the one thing that everybody who finds me has seen. But if you see Hellfire, you can see that. Let me, what's this? This little capelet that he's wearing that goes over his arms, like in his shoulders. That's a separate piece, and you can even kind of tell that I've got this little button here, and there's one over here. You just can't really see it very well, but it's held on with buttons, and he can remove that if he wants. He doesn't have to wear it. He wears it most of the time, but he can remove it if he wants to. He usually does remove it when he's hunting because it's just another layer of fluttery fabric that's going to get in his way when he's fighting. So he usually removes it when he's hunting. So you'll see that in Hellfire towards the end when he decides he's going to go out after Bronte, which is sort of a spoiler, I know, but it's just the way the cookie crumbles and the way that the story of Immolation happened. So you can tell that he removes this outer layer when he goes hunting. And so underneath this, because we've got, let's see. So he has a shirt that he wears underneath, like a camise, which is the layer that's worn closest to the skin. And then he has the actual like shirt portion, which doesn't come all the way up. It doesn't come all the way up. The shirt portion is like the black undershirt that he's wearing here. It is part of his cassock, so he does have to like say the prayer that is required to put it on, and so on and so forth. There's little prayers for each button that he's supposed to say every single time he puts it on. And that's like its own separate piece. It's not connected to the robes at the bottom. That's a separate piece. So it's just a shirt. And again, his collar isn't part of that. And the collar is a entirely separate piece that he can put on. He's got different versions of it. Like obviously the one that he's going to be wearing with his cassock is going to be black with the little white bit in the front. But he has fully white versions of it too that go over his white shirt whenever he wears his white shirt, which is what he's wearing in that. I don't have it easily accessible, but the one that he's like pulling his shirt on. And then I've got this part, which is like Bronte's kind of skirt, where it just basically it buttons on. It's got like its own separate waistband, and he just buttons it, and then all of that goes underneath the sash, which is a separate part. And because he's part of leadership, he's got this long part to his sash. If you're not leadership in the church, then you just don't have that, and you just have the little wrap at the waist. Or if you're not even if you're not even anything yet, and you're just a little novice, you don't have any sash at all. Bronte doesn't get one. She doesn't get to have a sash. And obviously he's got like his trousers and stuff underneath it, but his trousers aren't like blessed clothing from the church. They're just bog standard trousers. It's nothing special about them. So if a vampire wanted to, because all of the like actual blessed clothing will hurt. Wow, that's really small. Will hurt if a vampire touches it. It'll burn them. But if they just like get their this is the worst little. That's a hand. It's like little claws. If they get their little fingies underneath the robe and they like scratch at his legs, then they'll be able to break through that because it's not blessed, so it doesn't protect him. But he's usually got his robe in the way. You're not going to very easily get hit on that. And then his boots come up pretty high, like they come up to his knees. So unless you're really going to grab his thigh, which is not very easy to do, you're not really going to land a very good hit. Bronte just has a wooden rosary, right? Yep. So you don't really see it too often, but she technically what she has is she's got her outfit breakdown that I mentioned. So she's got her camise, she's got her bodice, etc., and you can't really see it. This habit, by the way, goes like in front of everything, but it also like drapes over the back, so technically you should be able to see it in the back. I haven't added that yet. But it kind of drapes over from front to back, and underneath the habit, but over top of her bodice, she basically wears like a rope cord, and through that cord she has like a wooden rosary that's strung, because they wear belt rosaries. So they're not like these little necklace rosaries like that, like that's a necklace rosary. They wear belt rosaries, so they're these big chunky chunky ones that hang from their belts instead. And hers is wooden. It serves no purpose other than for prayer, versus Cyril, which I haven't drawn his. It's somewhere in there. I haven't drawn his yet. Versus Cyril's rosary, which is metal, it has been blessed, and it's specifically used for magic. So, no magic for her. She is just a novice. Toasty, welcome in. Ting, welcome in. Good to see you. Touch repellent clothes. Listen, how else am I going to make this man touch-starved? Within an inch of his life. I need to make it really hard for him. I love the clothing detail. It helps make the world building more real. Thank you. I'm glad you like these little details. I really went overboard on just kind of the insignificant things that I included because I just enjoy them. But also I love them. One of the things that, which it sounds really silly to say, because it's a story about a vampire hunter and vampires and all sorts of, shenanigans. Like, Cyril is really just on fire constantly, because that's what the church believes in. Like, right? Like, it's silly to say that I want things to be quote unquote believable, but I do, and I like these little touches of like historical clothing and so on. It makes me very happy. Does the church not require its members, nuns, to cut their hair? So you're not required to cut your hair. A lot of the nuns do, because it's easier to wear their veils over. Bronte doesn't cut her hair. She's got, which you can't really see obviously here, but she's pretty much always got this little front bit of hair showing, and then she braids her hair. This is the worst braid ever known to man. But she braids her hair, and then kind of like wraps it around her head, and then she puts her cap and her veil over that to smooth out the lines. And I would say that, probably a lot of the other nuns do that. Some do cut their hair. Both Sybil and Florence, for example, have like medium to long hair, probably like medium length hair, and they don't cut it. They don't feel a need to. If they're uncomfortable, they might cut it, but no, there's no requirement. Cyril having long hair is kind of odd. Generally speaking, it's not a requirement, but they encourage the blokes to cut their hair, relatively short. It's more about, particularly when they're hunters, it's more about safety. Like, you don't want to have vampires grabbing your hair. The nuns actually like button down their. Let's see if I can find it. I'm not gonna find it. I'm just gonna doodle. The nuns actually kind of, if they're hunters. So by default, they've got like their little veils that they wear, right? It's the worst drawing ever. Whatever. But they've got little buttons in their uniform, so that if it's windy or if they're hunting, etc., they can actually button their veil down so that it kind of turns into like a little cape sort of thing. and a hood that's held in place. But yeah, Cyril having long hair, it's not frowned upon. That's not really the right word. But it's not typical. Him having long hair is a bit of an anomaly. How long is his hair anyway? It's quite long. Avanti says Bronte is magic herself. It's true. And we love that for her. Cyril took an additional vow that forbids him from cutting his hair, which is why his hair is as long as it is. But Cyril, let's see here. So let's say that this is like the back of his head. So you've got his hair, and it comes back, and then you can't really see this because he's got this little wrap that goes over it to protect his hair. But what he does is he pulls it back, and then it gets braided. And then he's got a little, which you really can't see because it's behind his shoulder, or whatever. But basically, then he just kind of loops the rest of it. So it's kind of braided all the way down and then looped at the end. And then all of that gets wrapped up in like a little silk ribbon thing to protect it. So his hair is pretty long. I would say his hair comes down to, let's see, if he had it down, because braiding it will shorten it, and then he loops the excess of it basically back up. So his little wrap probably would only be about that long. It probably comes down to like about his shoulder blades. Like that's probably about how long it is. But if you took all that hair out and you unbraided it and you didn't loop it, it would probably be somewhere about that long. Like his hair is pretty long. It'd probably come down to like, yeah, like maybe about his natural waist. He has more hair. He has obviously more of the hair than that. I'm just giving you a general idea. But yeah, his hair is pretty long. He's been growing it for a long time. Zero's got those luscious locks. Hi, Cynthia. Welcome in. It's good to see you. That's so convenient. I had no idea. I love little historical things and trying to make it so that how people... Okay, this is one of my pet peeves, and it's not even really a fair pet peeve. I'm not even sure if that's the right term. But anyways, point being, because I mentioned that I like for things to feel believable, which doesn't necessarily mean that they're realistic, but they just need to be believable. And one of the things that bothers me is when you have fantasy characters who have like really impractical. Oh my goodness, impractical. I didn't sleep last night. That's my excuse. I'm sticking to it. Characters who have really impractical. Oh my lord, impractical armor or outfits or things like that. I like characters who feel like they take those things into consideration and they make decisions and they move through their lives in a natural way. I would be able to word that better if I had slept, but I can't. I totally did not just wake up. Oh, I wish that was me. How old is Cyril anyway? He's about 45. I think he's exactly 45. I'd have to open the book. I think I'm pretty sure. And I remember because I had to ask my editor this. Because I use the terminology because it's said like his age is basically guesstimated at by Domingo, who like doesn't like Cyril at all. Um, but because it's Domingo thinking it to himself, I said it was 40 and 5, but then I had to ask my editor, is it 40 and 5, or is it 5 and 40? Because we had to go look up what the proper way to say that was. I don't remember which one is correct. I'd have to look. I'm gonna hold on. I have a copy of the book. I'm just gonna look. I don't remember which one was correct, but we had to research that to figure out what was the proper way. Why does he want or vow to keep it long? You will have to read further in the story to find that out. He's very private about what vow he took to keep his hair long. And he's very protective of his hair. He doesn't look 45. Does he look younger? Does he look older, though? I don't mind the impractical items if they look cool. See, this is the thing. It's like, I want things to look cool, but also be practical. So I struggle. Okay, hold on. Let's see. Domingo meeting Cyril. Where is that chapter? It's pretty early on. I think it's like 8 or 9. There we go, it's 8. Will you have some time to rest today? Probably not. I have a lot of work I have to do. But we'll find out. I'm hoping mostly that I can stay awake through the whole day, so that when I finally get to bedtime tonight, because I didn't sleep and because I will have been up a full day, that I will just crash and sleep all through the whole night. But we'll see. Okay, let's see. Chapter 8, Domingo, blah blah blah. There it is. No older than 5 and 40. So it was the smaller number goes first when you're writing it in this particular way. 5 and 40. Because I remember my editor and I got stuck on that. Alright. Okay. Okay, so I added his stole, because he has to be wearing his stole because it's a confession. Okay, we can get rid of that. I need to up though. As previously stated, he has many many layers. Okay, there it is. I should really name my layers to make it easier, but I won't. I think it depends on the person. Some people do look pretty young at their 40s. It's funny because I have readers who I had one reader who thought Cyril was too old to be doing all the stuff that he does. Like in the very first chapter of the book, he climbs up a ladder and they commented, they're like, I don't know, he's a bit too old to be doing that. And I'm like, what? No, he's not. He is young for an archbishop. Yeah, he acknowledges that. So he is seen as a bit young. But he's older than Bronte, so. Okay, so let's see here. I think I want to. Oh, that's why Why did that end up in the same layer? No, oh well. Oops. This man got thrown off a train. To be fair, that would hurt anyone. He's canonically ripped as fuck. It's true. It's true. I mean, this this person, bless their heart, they did not finish reading the book, which is fine. They decided it wasn't for them, and that's totally fine. But they commented, it isn't like their words were, it just isn't realistic for a man of his age to be going up a ladder. And I was just thinking, girl, wait until you find out what he does once he's at the top of the ladder. Like, and she just was like, yeah, it's just not realistic. And I'm just, ma'am, there are vampires up there, and you're concerned about realism right now. Whatever, it's fine. Not every book is for everyone, and that's totally fine. How's 40 too old to climb a ladder? Apparently, we all just become vegetables once we reach 40. It's news to me. Is the Secret Project book set in the same world as Immolation? Is it used as a world-building example? So it does take place in the same world. It takes place in a different region with a different focus. So, for example, if you leave the province where Windermere is located, so Windermere is way, way, way up north, right? Way up north at the very, very edge of the Empire. And the province that it's in is called Vizimund. And if you leave that province, any kind of folklore or concept of vampires pretty much vanishes. People go from being like hyper superstitious about vampires to meh, whatever, it's just another fairy tale, it's just another piece of folklore, whatever. Because vampires just don't pop up anywhere else. So it's the same world as Immolation, the Secret Project, but there's no vampires because you're not in the same province, and therefore there aren't any vampires to harass you. There are other things to harass you, like Cyril being a menace. And there's still mythology and folklore and all sorts of stuff, but same world, but they don't deal with the vampire shenanigans. As far as world building, you're going to learn a little bit more about, which if you've read Immolation Volume 1, you'll hear it just kind of vaguely referred to as, quote-unquote, the capital, like the capital city, which is the capital of the Empire, which is way, way down south. And how do I make this not sound like I'm insane? The world itself is the same world that I used for the pirate storyline of Cyril, which was his original incarnation. That's technically a lie, but we're not going to get into that. I don't have time. So that world and that story, the pirate storyline, takes place in the capital city. So I'm trying not to go there and use that until I'm telling the pirate story, which is going to be a different book series in the future. But so the Secret Project kind of takes place in a spot in between where Immolation is and where the capital city or the pirate storyline is. So you're going to get more information about the capital. You're going to see, it's going to have Evangeline in it. She's going to be renamed. She's been renamed to Angelique because it's supposed to be kind of like a spin-off standalone, and I didn't want to use the same name. Same characters, I just have given them new names. So you're going to get to meet Evangeline, who is technically also going to show up in Immolation Volume 2. But she's going to be under a different name because it's just a slightly different story. And she is part of the royal family of the Empire. So you're going to get to learn a little bit more about the Empire through her, but not as much as you'll learn for the pirate storyline, if that makes sense. Cynthia, welcome in. How are you today? I'm hanging in there, but I did not sleep last night. So I'm fighting for my life over here. Why do vampires only stay in the place where people can kill them? You will have to keep reading to find out. I'm sure they must have a good reason. And yes, I am skipping all of my lining to just do the color blocking. That's so clever, you're just expanding the lore. I have a lot of fun. I really want to do more with this world, and I fully plan to, so it's nice to have a little bit of an excuse to have some fun with it. Please be sure to get rest, sending you good vibes. Thank you so much, I really appreciate it. I have to go, so many questions. I love your art, please be sure to take care of yourself. Thank you so much for stopping by, I really appreciate it. I'm really glad you enjoyed the story and my art. Thank you very much, it means a lot to me. Have a wonderful day yourself. Yeah, sure, whatever, I'll include his hair in this. I'll go over his face later to make it a different color. This is a different brush than I normally use. Can you tell? Because I struggle with this brush. So, okay, look. This is the brush I'm trying to use. This is the brush I normally use. Can you see why I'm struggling? I want to try and use this solid brush because it's got much cleaner lines to it. But oh man, it's a struggle for me. Oh, and I went through all those pieces of Cyril's outfit and I didn't even talk about his gloves. Oh well. Cyril wears gloves, by the way. Always wears gloves, never seen without them, or almost never seen without them. His outfit is his second skin. And with the way I draw it, true. But yeah, he's always got gloves on. You pretty much can't see any of him other than like his a little bit of his neck and his face. Always covered up. I don't really know how much of his legs you're going to be able to see. I'll get to that when I get to it. Gotta go, might pop back in, but if not, fun to watch you draw. Thank you so much for stopping by, Lily. I hope you had a good time. Have a good rest of your day if I don't see you again. His ungloved hands are too scandalous. That's lewd. He can't have his fingies out for free in this economy. Plus, he wears his rings over his gloves. That's just a hassle. He has to take off his rings to get his gloves off. And I will, yeah, I'll just include this, and I will definitely do it with my normal brush. Otter, welcome in. Good to see you. Has to cover up the muscles, otherwise people would stare where they shouldn't. See, this is the real truth of why he has so many layers on. I don't know, I think he'd be very flustered if he knew people were looking at him. Sweet carrots and roses, welcome in. Watching you drawing is so relaxing and therapeutic. Thank you. I'm really glad to hear that. I recently discovered this magnificent world of yours and I'm in love with all the characters. Thank you so much. That makes my heart so happy. Thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. What timeline would this be set in? Timeline? Do you mean the secret project? Because pretty much all of the stories that I'm writing in this world, while they're kind of alternate stories, they take place in the same world in the same time frame, right? So it's not like Immolation takes place in, I don't know, the 1800s or whatever the time would be in that world, and the pirate storyline takes place in the 1700s or something like that. No, it's nothing like that. The time doesn't change very much between the stories. It's just that they're kind of alternate versions. Alternate universe? Oh, that's not really quite the right word because it's the same world. I don't know. What's a good term for that? Same world, different stories. Barely see his hand when it's in there. Haven't really sorted out. She's holding his hand with both of hers, so you can't really see too much. I don't know, his hand is in there somewhere. I don't think he would be... I don't know, I might make it so that he has his thumb. I don't know, would he do that? He generally tries not to hold her hand back when she is holding on to him, because that would be untoward. But I don't know. I'll think on it. Maybe he's a little bit mischievous in this sketch, and he's actually holding her hand back, which is not what he's supposed to do. Maybe he does it anyways. We'll see. I'll think about it. Alternate lives? Maybe. Yeah, because they're alternate storylines, but they take place within the same world and within the same time, generally speaking. There's no big time leaps between the settings of the stories. They mostly just take place in different regions, and each region will have its own beliefs and troubles and mythology and so on. Domingo in Immolation also comes from the capital, so you get to see a little bit of how the capital thinks and some of what their beliefs are. Domingo's a weird one, though, because he is technically from the capital, but he's also an immigrant from a different country to the capital, so he's got more complicated views on things versus someone like Angelique, who is also called Evangeline because I like making my life difficult, versus someone like Evangeline who was born and raised in the Empire as part of the royal family, etc. Though you will get to meet a new character in Immolation Volume 2 who is very, very much so deep in terms of what the Empire thinks. Uh, so look forward to meeting her. I don't know if you'd even, well, you probably will see a little bit of the eye patch, not very much. I encourage thumb holding. Okay, okay. Duly noted. We've got 1 vote for him holding her hand back. Eating breakfast while watching stream. What are you having for breakfast? I've got my little energy drink here that's gonna keep me awake. Let's see here. Alright, I forgot his little... Well, I haven't colored any of the golden, so it doesn't really matter, but I forgot his little earrings. Gotta have his earrings. Not that you will really be able to tell. Think about. Going to rework her hand a little bit, but generally speaking. Oops. I'll sort out the details of that hand later. Energy drink on an empty stomach. Listen, I never said that it was a good idea. I just said it's what I'm doing. Unfortunately. I'm sure I'll regret it later. It's a good thing I thought I had to buy an energy drink for today, because I don't drink them very often. I did not expect not to sleep last night. It was very unfun. 0 out of 10. Okay, let's see if I can block in Bronze here real quick. I'm not going to do the Hassock for now, I don't think. I'm not sure that I will keep these lines for the fabric. I might want to rework how her skirt is laying, but we'll see. The skirt looks a little bit too full and a little bit too long, because her skirt only comes down to, whoops, her skirt only comes down to about her calves, like a little bit below her knees. So I think this looks a little bit too long, but that's okay. I'll fix it later. I guess her sleeve will come out. Yeah, I haven't. You can tell I haven't actually drawn her other arm because she's holding onto him with both hands, so her other arm is going to be somewhere over there. My music stopped, which means I have already hit an hour. My goal was to not go too far over an hour, so I will finish up blocking her out as much as I can, and then I'm going to have to call it because I have some chores I really need to get to, and I can't put them off. I'm on a little bit of a time crunch. I love Bronte's dress. Thank you. I love her dress too. I find it very charming. Drink soda on an empty stomach right there with you. Hey, don't don't do as I do. Defy desperation. Hello, I don't speak English very well, but I like your work. Very fascinating. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And welcome in. You guys are menaces to your own self. Eggs with toast, though, is an excellent combination. A classic. Even if it's messy. Oh, her little habit. You should be able to see that. Let's see. With his thumb over her hand, you can't really see her sleeve. That's okay. Then, let's see. Oops. I'll do a better sketch of this later, but because we talked about it. Just going to do a very quick. There we go. Just to allude to her rosary. I forgot Cyril's rosary. Well, I didn't forget it, it's just not there yet. Okay. Sorry, Cyril, I will give you your rosary in 1 minute. He usually keeps his on his left side. Except he's got all of his layers on, so I won't really be able to see very much of it, but it's there. Let's see if I can do a really quick version. Let's see. supposed to have? Cyril, why do you have why do you have such decorative clothing? I know I designed them for you, but why? Let's see. Oh, I erased it. That's why it didn't make any sense. Okay, hold on. I have to fix that. This is so beautiful. Thank you. I'm so glad you like it. I'm really happy with it. It sounds weird because I don't really update. Right now I'm only updating the word count and only intermittently updating the word count for the secret project. But I've been doing a lot of writing with Bronte and Cyril because I'm still working on Immolation Volume 2 at the same time. I'm just a lot more secretive about that project because it's so much bigger. But yeah, part of me is just like it's really nice to draw them after writing scenes like this. It's nice to draw them. Alright, let's see if I can get this. then he's got his little extra bits. I don't know what they're called, but I know that they're there. Fun fact, these little extra bits were added purely because I wanted to animate them in Hellfire, and now they're here now, forever. Okay, I think that is going to have to be it for me today. I have to get to work. I've got some work I really need to do, and I'm on my aforementioned time crunch, so I'm gonna call it a day. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out. I really appreciate everyone coming and saying hello. Streamings are like the highlight of my weekend, so I really appreciate it. I hope you had a good time. I'll be streaming not this upcoming Sunday, but the one after that. Every other Sunday, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Probably working, probably more on this, either this or possibly working on the animatic with Bronte and Cyril, just kind of depending on what I'm able to do. And I will be sure to post reminders about the promotion where you can get a free copy of Immolation. So if you're interested, that is coming up, and I'll be sure to post alerts so you don't miss out on the free promotion. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great rest of your weekend.